Guys, parade was good.
It
It
sounded like it
was
was.
Was it bigger than more participants?
Probably a few more. I think. It was pretty big.
When they switched the road on you? No, I heard a couple complaints, but the announcer was at the end of the parade, so the people that were at the beginning could.
Yeah. Well,
Parade
Well,
without
some people was
announcers.
right.
I don't
No,
understand, I mean, I get it, but I don't think it's necessary.
I've never heard one before ours. Yeah, I agree. I've never heard them mention it, and I've gone to several. There's there.
Yeah.
I heard it was Heidi, wasn't it?
It was.
I heard it when we went by.
When we went by, yeah.
hard not to.
Well, they usually it's right at the judging station anyway, right? Either side of that, you know, pretty much,
True.
you know.
Six o'clock, I will call the meeting to order. We will dispense with the pledge. There's no objection. It's a work session. Let's see here. Christina, you have the roll.
Yes.
We need to approve this evening's agenda, please.
Motion to approve this evening's agenda.
And a second. All in favor?
I
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. On to old business. How is our fix everything plan or the PER report?
That's probably an 85% with that. We just haven't had a chance to go back since we've gotten the new numbers. To
Okay.
revisit that and update the tables and stuff like that. So that'll be our goal. To start seeing how that affects that and hopefully get a working draft and kind of really soon.
That was the numbers for the water plant.
Yeah, the treatment plants, all that periods that,
Okay.
Kirita is the company been working with, what their recommendations were.
And some irrigation stuff too, maybe.
Yeah.
So there's a few things. that
Irrigators
are-
that took quite a while to get that.
Right, feasibility study.
Okay. Guess I will start introduction wise. The last conversation the board had was, we were gonna invite our partners from the library board so that we could have a group discussion on the feasibility study. And then have an open dialogue about what path the city should take with the facilities. So, I see Mary here.
Yeah, Kelly Hanks is,
Kelly can't make it. I got an email from her at 4:15. Her vehicle broke down.
oh, no, cause I
So-
just talked to her this afternoon.
Yeah,
This
so
morning,
she did email me. I forwarded her, her comments. She says overall, she's pleased with the study. It's a great start and now it's something that they can work towards and definitely be helpful for any grant opportunities.
Mhm.
She states that she believes there's a lot of little things in the study that could be fixed or improved by city maintenance crew. That would lower costs. Adding onto the building is most likely out of our budget at the moment. I would like to continue to search for grants and see if we can work towards remodeling and adding new shelving. So that was Kelly's comments. I think I would open it up because this board has had some conversations, but didn't want to really do it without the library board. So Mary,
I'm a token library board member.
yeah.
I don't know
And-
what.
And
see
Lori,
other than-
Lori's been absent too, so this is a good opportunity for all of you guys to really have some good input.
Yeah,
for
I haven't
the
actually
city.
laid eyes on the report. I've heard about it, but,
Oh,
so I haven't actually seen.
I gave a physical copy to Kelly and Miriam.
Yeah, and I was supposed to look in there when I went in there and I didn't remember to do that. I've been gone a lot, so.
Okay.
But I've heard there was no big surprises really. Or,
Okay.
you know,
Next, how do you want to proceed?
Well, I think, Mary, for you to hear from the council itself, I think is important too. I think I know where I'm leaning and kind of with Kelly on that, is that it's a nice piece of money, but it's not enough.
No, I know.
To proceed.
I,
If we want to use the funds that are there for improving the existing building, reworking a floor plan, that kind of thing,
yeah,
I think that's where the funds would be best spent.
yeah. Well, even if we consider it a phase one to rework the floor plan we have now, and then in anticipation of adding on in the future, if we get grants, would that be,
That is unacceptable. to
you
me.
know, we don't want to ruin anything we put the money into now, rearranging our existing footprint, but,
Correct. That's,
yeah.
if you're going to look towards the future that way, yes.
Yeah, and as I
That's a good
understand
point.
it, we had to do this first, the feasibility study to apply for grants. So that was kind of step one. So,
You would have needed to done it in. at
Right,
this point, yeah.
right. So,
You've opened the door.
yeah. Oh,
Nick, thoughts?
Grants, I guess.
Mhm.
Our existing timeline, what have we been working on this for 4 years now?
It seems like it's been 4 years. That was
Since we-
COVID, so
since
maybe
we've heard about the
22,
money.
maybe
Because I was
21.
on board when we got- when we heard about the money.
True.
Right.
And I had just come on when the money was granted to the libraries. So 3 years at least, maybe 4.
On your second year of your term.
But I came in a half,
Came in and a half, that's why. Guys lose track of when you started, that's the. Okay, if I could ask a question then to the group. Mary spoke of, a phased option. We spoke of reworking the existing footprint. Some of those layouts that Woodseth gave options to reworking the existing footprint do include changes, like wall changes as well. And in the conversation about the restrooms
Mhm.
and the use of the existing office, those types of things
yeah,
are still fairly large changes. And if your intention is to move into a phased addition, and add an addition, then we need to consider those options that Woodseth gave, because I don't think you can start with one and then move into the other. It's not really what Jamie provided to in this study. I mean, if you only take option B and then move into the addition, it's a completely
It's-
different layout.
it's either or.
I don't think you can migrate into one or the other. I think your options are to add on and go to the big enchilada, or just rework with what you have. Update what's needed. And see if you can keep the existing footprint.
And we're quite limited to where we can even build out with the lot lines and everything else.
And that was addressed by Woodseth too. I mean, you could
Yeah.
add 800 square feet is what I believe that's what it ended up being. Which would expand on the kids area and, a community area in the back, but,
Mhm.
just going down to one family restroom instead of having two.
Yeah.
Very large restrooms.
Yeah,
Would give you a fairly decent amount of, that's initial, what,
yeah, that's, I
that like
think
200
we all
square
thought that
feet?
was a good idea.
one of those restrooms, probably.
Yeah, if they're big.
That's screwed up and down, that's closed.
Oh,
Right.
I think what this board is looking for and wanting to have representation from the library board is that we can move forward on a single decision and not have polarization like we've had in the past. And if that is what the library board is fine with, then then there's a compromise and they can
Yeah.
decide on that, because in the past, it's always been, move, go bigger, and vacate what we have, and I think Don is, on the position of not relocating, not moving into another facility, right? So
Yeah.
that's why we're trying to work with what we have. So, yeah, Mary, do you know what kind of feedback from the other board members? I know I've sent it to Paula and Miriam both.
Yeah. Well, we know we have to be realistic,
Okay,
and it's amazing, even just to put that addition out the back. Oh, it's big bucks.
Mhm.
To do that, so we know realistically,
sure.
and we even kind of half jokingly said, well, how about we build up? But that's not feasible. So, it is what it is.
She hasn't seen the plans, obviously.
Yeah.
The option B, if they did decide to do something in the future, looks like that would be, they wanted to do an addition. Option B would be easier to move around than option A with the conference room already there.
Well, that's what I was gonna suggest is this was put together based on conversations they had previously. In light of new information that we're hearing tonight, I would suggest that we get our group together again and talk about this, because maybe there's something that could be even more, a little more to accommodate today and future. So, something we should talk about.
We're referencing the amount of money we have is inadequate. Can you remind me what that amount is?
About 65,000
65. The biggest,
from Kid
Less,
Don.
Okay, so you got-
less of feasibility money.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, so
and the largest number I see on this report is 235,000. Would that include an addition?
no, the addition I think was much more.
This, yeah, the addition was, sure. Yeah.
Oh, the addition. Over a mill, is it?
Jamie gave a square footage estimate.
The addition would be 260,000.
Yeah.
No, so that- obviously, have available any stretch, so we'd have to get significant grants.
Budget construction cost, right? Yeah, that doesn't include furniture and energy and stuff like that.
Right, no, you're just talking about the building itself, the
Yeah.
structure itself.
Yeah, and the soft costs, all the design and stuff, the construction administration. So,
Right.
Well, I think we should pursue, funding. It's
yeah, oh, yeah,
the addition, I think, is the ideal situation, but
yeah,
I'm in agreement with other folks that that location is where you
we're,
have to
we're
be.
limited,
And it's really ideal as far as where you want to be. I think if the main or a big part of your clientele is what we're talking about, school kids.
right,
I mean, it's on the
Right.
same street, it's on the same stretch
Yeah.
of the street. They only have to cross one street, some
Right.
of them to get there.
yeah, we've talked
Compared to
about,
some other locations we were talking about, there'd be a lot more
right,
cross traffic, so. I think it's good, but in addition would require a lot of money as well as engineering, as we've seen from the report, retaining wall in the back there. Change of elevation. But I think what you said is good, that we should, if we could consider an interim option, that
yeah,
would be,
keep our options open,
and it could be morphed into an addition
yeah,
in the future rather than require demolishing and refiguring what was
right,
built
right,
now.
yeah. Our next library board meeting is like, September 21st or something like that, and I'm gonna be out of town. And people will be there.
I'll be there, I think. I don't think I'm anywhere. It's a Thursday.
Tuesday, like the third Tuesday. Is what we usually shoot for. But it is,
Thursday, Tuesdays?
yeah.
Tuesdays, okay.
Mhm.
Alright, I just got some.
I mean, this new plan that you guys drew up, concept plan for the addition and everything, I mean, that looks really good. I like that. Personally,
Yeah.
I like that,
The addition one?
yeah. Have you haven't seen it?
No, Kelly was gonna bring it, so I
Okay.
came a little early, so I was gonna be looking at it now. That didn't work out. But
Well,
I just heard about it.
Tuesday?
third Tuesday is what week? Is it like the 21st or something like that?
No.
Of
Third
September?
Tuesday, oh, September.
September.
That would be the 17th, which
Oh,
is Kitchens.
Oh,
So
oh,
I always thought we were Thursdays.
no,
Well, why is Kitchen, maybe I've got that wrong. That is Thursday, Tuesday. Never mind, 17th. It's okay. It was just me being dumb.
You have her email address, Christine, email her.
Mayor, when she leave it with me on the
Sure.
sign in sheet, but, I was successful at getting just that report sent to Melissa Wheatley today. I didn't think it was gonna go for those 18 bags, but it went, yeah.
And I would. Oh, perfect.
You bet. Boy, that's the version, no, that's the wrong version, that's the July 8th one. There's another one, and that's what I was looking for was the different version. I put the wrong one in my packet. I'll get you another one.
So with that, is there a time that works for? If there's further choosing that needs to be done, what do you want to do here? Go with option B as
Oh,
our.
well,
Do
isn't
we
that
wanna
the,
have more conversations with Seth to see what the,
And if you want to revise it, I suggest we have a team's call. You can let us know what your wishes are, and then we can put together, what time would that take us and things like that, give you a new plan.
because I guess I agree with Nick, that to me, option B looks about the simplest.
And even if you didn't
If you
use
want
walls
to.
and use partitions or something to make
Right.
little rooms or something.
So if I could just circle back, because I know we've got a couple statements here. Am I hearing that the boards are in favor of moving forward with remodeling and going to option B? In a nutshell, is that what I'm hearing from you guys?
no,
I think we should wait.
Okay, that's why I'm asking for validation here, you guys.
I don't know. I think we're even close to that at this point. I think that, I think the library board needs to come together and look at this plan and talk about it. In the meantime, I think it would be a good idea to find out from you exactly if this is the plan that could be moved forward with addition without too much. I think that's what we need to
Without,
point.
yeah, without too much demo. And
Right.
if, you were to proceed in the future, 10, 15 years down the road.
Yeah.
Are you knocking out a whole bunch of stuff? And
That you
put in?
just put in,
Yeah.
yes, that's, I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
would be
what
it.
we're looking at
Yeah.
to finalize or figure out.
And it sounds like your ultimate goal is with the addition. So what does the interim look like to try to minimize redoing some sort of thing?
Yep, I think that's a good plan, because I don't think we could do
Because-
any kind of decision without that board.
I know circumstances being what they were for a couple members tonight, they could not be here from the library board, but, we're dealing, we have one representative, and I don't know if Mary wants to speak for the whole board, not having seen the report.
That's disheartening because the report has been out there for almost
I-
5 weeks, so
Yeah.
whether
I
that was a
didn't-
breakdown
I
in
didn't know
communication
that.
on my part, I apologize to Mary.
No, that's
But
okay.
that was the collective request of this board is to have
Correct.
representation and input tonight.
Yeah.
And that could be, I could take some responsibility. I could have gathered them and said, hey, we need a special meeting. But I've been out as well, so.
So I think our September work session should definitely include this and definitely get everybody here.
In the work session.
What would be the date of that?
Yep, I'm just blocked.
Oh, I bet I'll be gone.
Would be the 23rd.
Of September, yeah, I'll be gone.
but between now and then,
But we will have a meeting on the 17th.
you guys,
And I'll be gone for that too. I mean, I'm just one of the members, but I'll be gone a couple of weeks.
but your board can sit together,
Yeah, maybe we can,
they can get together and figure something out and
yeah,
have a
I hope so.
representative from
I hope so.
the group that has seen all this stuff,
Yeah,
that can speak for the group maybe.
And start writing up in the grants, if that's their plan, to try to raise more money.
yeah.
Cause
Well,
we could be doing this for another 4 years and then, does that money ever expire?
it does not, but also please keep in mind that you've got a referendum for local option sales tax that includes the library
Right,
Correct.
on the ballot in November that will start, if it passes, start accumulating revenue
Yeah,
in
it's
25,
50,000 over 20 years,
right? It's 100.
100,000.
But
over
it's
20
still,
years.
it's still an addition to grants,
Did
right?
you said you sent this to Melissa, and was there any feedback?
No, I only sent it to her today.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing about that money sitting in there, it looks like a chunk of money. So when people are looking at that, they're looking like the library, Hitchy has all this money. So you don't need your extra money that you're asking us for
When it comes to another levy year.
when it comes to another
Right.
levy year. So that is another reason why that it needs to be moved, yeah, because that's kind of what happened before with, they see these numbers. The numbers, you know, is what they look at, and so they're like, oh, but you have all this reserve, why are you asking us for X amount more?
And that's, I
But
think, why we talked
But isn't
about
that the money,
before, if you could use it, right, and see if you can just do some slight modifications to the building.
But then we didn't want to get into to just
Yeah.
do something in spite, just to do something and then go,
And
oh, well, that was dumb, we
and
just
lose our
we just spent
investment.
it.
Yeah,
but wasn't that money owed to the city of Blackduck because it was an overpayment in the first place? So why wasn't
Yes,
that?
it's
So isn't that money?
previous levied money, but the Kichigami Library now has control of it and has agreed to create this policy to give it back to the facilities that, and the entities that own them.
yeah, and we're restricted to use it for physical facilities.
Correct.
It's not just operating funds.
So why can't we get the money and put it in an account for?
Because the policy that
Oh.
has been devised that I spoke of
You have to
dictates
show
how
it.
it can be used.
Okay.
Yep.
Correct.
So it would be nice to get something phased in where we could use some of that.
Yeah.
So the longer we take the deliberations, the more we're not serving the clientele of the library.
Mhm.
Like, just
Yeah,
Not actually starting.
yeah. It's frustrating when the city built the new library building, they never consulted with the library board. We knew right away it's too small. So it's been too small from day one, so it would be great if we could expand.
But with that, I think. Have, anything else, Christina, on it?
No.
I do not either. So then, move on. Unless there's. Somebody has something else that. Okay. How's the co-op coming?
I should have some more information after this week. The state's getting very close to, what they need for that additional piece. It's the co-op's hope that we'll have a purchase agreement, in front of this board to approve by the September 9th meeting.
Okay.
So we'll see how the co-op's board is working towards that this week and also the state.
And we haven't heard anything on the other one. Phil?
Bill's is still in the state's hands.
It's in this-
He most recently visited with me and I gave him some more information that the state needed.
Real good. I was just Making sure that it was either still going or maybe he dropped it or.
No.
I didn't know.
It's kind of gotten some dust on it, but he's
Still there, trying it.
he's still wiped it off and worked on it a little bit, recently, so,
All right,
yeah.
now. Unless anybody has some other questions, go on. Move to the ducks.
Okay, sorry that these came so late, but Nicole was waiting, for estimates from the fiberglass, people to give estimates on option 2, phase, I don't know, the second phase of the old deck. If you had enough time between the time that I sent this and tonight to actually go through this, you'll see that this, feasibility, I'm gonna call it a feasibility, it's a great assessment of our old deck, was much more in-depth and much more breadth, had a lot more depth to it as to what's wrong with it, its history, and what they could, surface see was wrong with our sculpture. In a nutshell, this company overall does not make recommendations to retire a sculpture. But in speaking with Nicole, she's kind of edging us to consider that because of the amount of,
So a restoration company doesn't want to restore this or doesn't.
I'm not
recommend.
saying that
Not that they don't want to.
they
but
will if we ask them to.
They are recommending that this is not.
They did not, that specifically says in option 1, we do not make recommendations to retire a sculpture lightly.
I
We
read-
always strive, but it may be in the city's best interest to explore retiring the sculpture and having a reproduction made, which could be an option if you went through all of the treatment processes that they've provided. Even the Band-Aid one, option 2, which seems very similar to what Jensen Conservation was most likely going to do for the city, would, they only estimate would give us maybe another 5 years on the sculpture. I mean, as it sits right now, just verbally on the phone, they're recommending, encapsulating it, putting, a hat on it like we talked about in the council meeting, keeping it inside, making a structure for it so it's protected somewhat by the elements for its future if the city chooses to continue going with it. I just did rough numbers and I mean, she couldn't give me a reproductive cost because that is gonna be solely up to obviously the client as to what that reproduction would be made out of, what size it is, all of that. But they're not in the business of reproduction. They're in the business of restoration, right? So we would be recommended into a different path if it chose that, if the city chose that role. If you went with the full restoration, you're looking at somewhere around 45 to 50 grand. And they're still recommending you keep it someplace housed, so nothing bad happens to it in the future, but there's a huge element of unknown inside this sculpture, as Ron's made it clear, it's been broken and they don't really know how much more they're gonna find when they take the fiberglass off and try to find out what's wrong inside. But kind of expected this to be to this level. This is a lot to digest. On the Lions deck, which is not as old, it still has a healthy dollar amount just to get it back to where it was when it was dedicated in the 90s. That's another 32 grand. And even with the 10 grand I got from Landon in the Jensen Conservation Restoration Plan, the city has for this project about $20,000 right now for grants and private funds. And I'm not 100% sure the city can levy for restoration or reproduction, starting to.
Imagine so.
I don't know if it's a taxpayer's money. It would probably end up being more grants and more generated of private donations to continue, much like we did on the beach.
Very serious fund drive for that.
Yeah, I mean, and
I mean, it's quite the undertaking just to apply for the grants, let alone the.
right. As it sits right now, I plan now that I have this. And the summer's taken the path that it has with Jensen having to terminate services. I owe it to the entities that donated to this project to send them a letter and give them an update.
Yes.
So my thoughts this afternoon was to provide them copies of these restoration plans and let them know that the board is aware of the extent of the services and the costs and, you know, depending on what the board decides what path to take, the money is still set aside for this, and we still appreciated their donation, so. I don't know, Max,
Well, I think then, you know. Actually, first and foremost, you have to. Get the original Blackduck. Out of where it is. Move it. Where we-
thought about that today,
And where we move it to.
no,
Do we have any buildings that are empty that are not being used?
no, so.
Efficient.
Sorry, Laurie.
I love it. Oh, I do. I was just like, you know, it's good. When I came on, there was a lot of buildings around it. Okay, so,
Mhm.
So I mean,
Like,
go ahead, Nick.
are they talking like a, put it in the actual building or like a roof over the top of it?
Either one,
Because you can get like a gazebo, or not a gazebo, but a whole kit for a couple grand.
right?
You don't steal a roof even,
And your point in putting it in the building now is to secure it,
just to keep the wall.
Just secure it and.
not make
Keep
it
it
open
from-
to the public.
And not make it, no.
Yeah.
Not currently,
And
not in its
also,
current state.
and also to keep it from deteriorating anymore before the city has a decision.
Because I know there's going to be a lot, you know, there'd be a lot of. You know, if you're not going to have it sitting out. Over there, you know, or somewhere in town. Or where it's visible, some people can go see it,
like at the historical center.
like at the history center, yeah, you that, it's.
I don't think
I
I'm fitting there, what?
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
don't know how you get it through the door, but
The wall,
A plexiglass box.
you know, where there's a will, there's a way, I guess, but. It does need to move inside.
But the old police building has been sold.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think if there seems to be a lot of indecision of moving inside, I think we'll get out of that.
Well, that's kind of the,
A good thing to do.
I mean, there's
I'm
a
sorry,
lot
what
of
was that?
stuff,
I missed that.
So if we move it inside, it'll never get out.
very possibly.
You have an empty square. I think the intent of the duck is to be visible. It's been out.
Right, but it's gonna just, it's just gonna deteriorate without some kind of cover.
Think can do. Covered. You thought of it, Steve Ball?
No, I
I was
need to.
looking at one for my yard, I get a 12 by 12, that's 12 feet tall for. Grand reach. Minus installation.
This is probably not unheard of, but I mean, is it the Fallen Babe that's in Brainerd?
They have
They have a surround for him. One year when I was on vacation, I came across the biggest ball of twine, and that's in a gazebo now, and that thing's really old too. I don't know,
actually looking at some pretty nice looking ones, but. I don't know.
You're still gonna have, if you don't enclose it, you're gonna have wildlife trying to live in it. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, but if you have a cover over it, the water and freezing, it's not gonna be.
Yeah, that won't be, but
Like that would be way better than putting it inside a building, I think. And you'd have a shade spot for people that wanted to look at it. If we still wanted to stick with that
And
corner.
it would keep water. Most rainwater off cover, especially driving rain. side and, you know, there's open cracks. I mean, if this was in my yard, I get open duct tape, so. Must be something we can do to cut
I'm
the
so glad
cracks rather than just sitting there letting it continue to be damaged here. So I like, it would be nice to know what it is. The portion of the report that attracted my attention was phase one of option two, which is investigated. See if it is truly what is underneath unsalvageable. Loading it up, and driving it up to the schools. Transfer station.
I do have a pole shed.
The what?
Do you charge rent?
Oh, bullshit.
Clever.
Or just
So then. Estimate for reproduction. That's, I think, what they're possible. Certainly gonna cost more than 1,200 to build a new one.
But the 1,200 is just for their services to help design. They can't really provide
Oh, I see.
a reproduction cost because they don't do those services around here. Yeah,
To design it.
they would help, yes, yeah.
See, that's kind of what I was talking
15 by
about.
30 for $2,000 with the steel.
If we, you know, were to go that road in the future, it's like, would, but I would, my opinion would be we should only go direct and exact reproduction. Visually identical to this one, which I assume means scanning it somehow, 3D cameras or something. I wouldn't want to go with something like that with the rest of it. Somebody says, oh, we're. My opinion would be we should go with something that's identical to this one, maybe made out of fiberglass.
Whatever happened to the rifle?
Decades.
Was it enough in history son?
So the idea is to do do a gazebo type of structure. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, if we want to protect it, that would be like most feasible.
And even that is, you know, a band-aid at best.
Well, that, I'm gonna go back to what was stated, and that was that, you know, this may not even be repairable at a cost that we can even do.
And then a reproduction would be the way to go.
Right.
It may not be, but again, we don't know because they're just using exterior examination.
In the public comment?
Mary, you know what? Since it's you, I guess.
Okay, you know, I wonder what the public's appetite to keep us, the duck, original duck is. I mean, what does the public think is worth money putting into it? You know, maybe you could make just a beautiful photographic display in memory of it. You know, beautiful quality and auction it off to some private person that would love to have it in their yard or something. But I just, it sounds like an expensive project to maintain 2 ducks that continually need maintenance. I don't know.
And you
Might
see,
be-
and there you bring up a good point too. It's the, you know, what is the take of the people in town? Because
Probably going by the age.
you would have to go community-wide, not city-wide.
Yeah,
This is something, you know.
maybe do a survey, public survey.
Could I speak to that a little bit? Please. I learned a little bit in the last couple weeks. So talking to some business owners along Main Street here, they said that people, tourists specifically, come to take pictures with the duck, drive the business. Drives people to their business. So if it wasn't there.
It's an important piece. You're correct.
And every time I walk my daughter by, I want to take a picture of it. You probably got thousands of pictures by there. Every time.
But, your point is well taken, because when I'm having my haircut across the street, numerous occasions, we've looked over and seen car pull up, people jump out, take the picture. Clearly, not people that live 2 blocks away, they're tourists.
And Cheryl Luhani from Rough Goods has offered her services, and we paid for some of the paint, just to do some of the wall, the stucco wall and the old police building and beautify the base. She didn't touch the duck itself, but she repainted the green 2 summers ago.
Okay.
Just because it attracts business for her too, and, you know, it's right across from her business, so.
I mean, do we wanna just say, hey, let's just fiberglass it, throw some paint on it? Cover up the cracks the best we can with what we got,
Start a duck fund for replacement.
But
put
definitely
a gazebo over it.
water tight.
Yeah, I agree. And sweet water, you have to protect it.
And if there could be some type of patch over the crack, you get over the crack. They said the fiberglass is deteriorating, would that be solved by paint? Coating on the outside?
I'm sure there'd be a local paint,
Like,
local artist that would probably come paint it.
I can see,
Even if it was every year, every couple of years, that would help.
in the pictures, you can see the fibers, but are exposed, but that's due to weather. Seal coat on roof. Absolutely.
Does anybody know the last time it was painted even?
I'm gonna give you the short answer on that, Nick. No, nobody, it's gonna be, nobody in this room, anybody's gonna know the answer. Mike? Thoughts? You really want them?
You know, putting up a roof over that duck isn't that terribly difficult, really. 4x4s, stringers, it's not that hard to do. You know, I hear the talk of original duck, but doesn't it say in there that that is not actually the original duck? And that it was replaced once before? You know, this need to hang on to things, I get it, I understand it, but it's not the original one, right? So that conversation to me is out the window. So now you've got something sitting over there that is a reproduction of the original already. I don't see any reason whatsoever to stick a ton of money into that. If you were going to do something, you take pictures, you have them measure it, do whatever, and put a reproduction one up there. I think putting, from what I read, I glanced at that quickly this evening, the descriptions on what it takes, what it's gonna need. I don't see any reason to go and stick another cent into that one. It sounds like it's done for. So the decision needs to basically be, what day do you want me to come and knock it down and get rid of it? And you need to get someone that's going to make a new one, plain and simple. You either decide we're going to have a new one or we're not going to have a new one. Me and my guys can go over here and slap some, you know, caulking in there and do what we can, and maybe it'll last 3 years, maybe it'll last 3 months, who knows? Your main decision here to me is, do you want to pay for a brand new one or not?
There it is.
Not only that, you have another duck that the Lions already commissioned to the city that most people go and see, not necessarily just the downtown people. And that one has needs also, and that was
Yep.
noted, and we haven't even touched that
We
yet.
haven't touched that up yet.
So I
A
mean,
whole nother feather.
my guess is Jensen was only gonna slap some paint on it, like Mike said, and fill up the holes, so we wouldn't have any unsightly things for people to look at, but this is, again, the circle that
See, I think,
unfortunately happens in this town where things have been commissioned and given to the city, and it's been our responsibility and the taxpayers' responsibility maintain and keep it, and you, as elected officials, you need to decide where that money is best well spent.
So.
I still think the gazebo is a good idea for a future duck if you're making this type of material as well, to keep that
Should
from.
be covered, yeah, it's not a bad idea at all.
You could go one step further with what Mike is saying, decommission this duck. Capture its history. And make some memorial, if you will, by the lion's duck. And decommission this one completely. And no longer reproduce it,
And not reproduce.
and not reproduce it.
I believe that wasn't even the original spot, the original duck.
No,
That
nobody's
was-
face at the creamery,
So, I
yeah.
mean, everything's been moved around. We have 2 large ducks in this town right now. Do we really need 2? You know, if we're gonna put money into one, you know, I'm all over this town every day. The main one people stop to take pictures of is the one at the wayside.
Well, yeah, it's right off the highway.
That's the one that's really become synonymous with our town. Yes, people see this one, they know this one too, but not nearly the way they do the one out there. And from what I read, the one out there could possibly be saved still. where
Yeah,
This
it
one's
can.
just toast.
The one out there's got a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
If you were gonna put money into anything, I would say it would be that one.
The one here, the concrete's completely, it's almost powder inside it.
Well, from what they can see from the crack, and they can't go any further. If I could make a suggestion, Matt, since I just got these this afternoon.
Yep,
And you don't have a meeting and to make a decision for another couple of weeks, is I would really encourage. The board members in the city to talk with, you know, your business owners. The chamber has a meeting on Wednesday, and you could provide these documentation to them, and I'll send the letters out to the private donors. But we really need the feedback from the community, like Mary said, about, you know. What would you like to see? But this is probably gonna end up being half. I don't think any of us really realized how bad it really was. And then,
to the point where it actually starts to become a liability.
Right.
Well, that's
You
what
know.
it said in here,
yeah,
you know, kids climb on it, could collapse.
right. And then on your September 9th meeting, you can have more feedback to decide how you want to pursue this.
I didn't realize it was this bad.
Have you been to it lately? Have you?
No.
Walked up.
It's pretty, other than the cracks, it's not like gonna tip over right now, or then your head not gonna fall.
Can I ask the assessment or the feedback from the Lions Duck assessment from the board?
Yeah, let's talk
Cause,
about that.
cause that cost us, you know, roughly around 32 grand. But like Mike said, this is a lot more salvageable.
Mhm.
It's still in fair condition according to KCI. But it looks like it's, you know,
It's definitely time to do something before it is in the same spot that one is.
correct. Correct, and their biggest concern is really the foundation, the base that the sculpture is sitting on. Cause that's pretty much decomposing as we speak. I mean, I think the feedback here is pretty evident that the one that the Lions dedicated needs to stay. And we have a chance with that.
Yeah, we're most of the way there with those, with that kind of funding.
Yeah,
You know.
a lot closer,
You're
yeah.
a lot closer.
Mhm.
That one, they actually, I think they're gonna bring a crane and lift it up and fix the base.
They'll have to
Right.
rig
What
it.
happens when they rig it, when it's fall off or something?
That's on them.
That's
what
on
they
them.
have
That-
insurance.
That's why it's of a company that they're recommending to bring
I like most.
or come to do. I mean, the amount of, requests from the city at this point for the lions duck is to, fence it off and make sure that there's an area that they can work in that's safe, so no one else can get in. That's minimal. We did
Yeah.
that when we did the fireworks, so.
Yeah, I say that's the way we go, and I would encourage everybody to talk to your neighbors, talk to everybody you go shopping, ask people. What do they think? How attached are they? And I don't mean just necessarily in the city, because I'm sure population of the city has changed quite dramatically since then. It's not the same. It's also a community thing.
I'll try to get with Jennifer Parker and see if we can get him to do something in the paper about it.
Because,
And on the web, well. With our newer our younger families, they may not be looking for the newspaper or. They're gonna shoot for our web. Can you get something on there about that?
In 2 weeks, no, I won't have time to do that. The best I can do is put a, like a Google survey together. And put it on our social media.
that's something.
The pond marquee, something. I'm just throwing out
I
ideas,
know
I'm
you're
just trying to,
Spitballing, it's
I'm
fine.
spitballing because I'm not here a lot. To be honest with you, I mean, in town, I travel a lot, so my opportunities are so limited, I'm just trying to throw stuff out, get my brain right, moving.
But yeah, that's what I'd say we do for now, Christina, and we will discuss it again at the next.
Okay. I made copies for the audience, and printed them out for both. If anybody wants to take them, they're welcome to them. They're on the sign-in table.
Yep.
And it's not nearly as big as the library file, so I can email it and stick it up and I could probably get it on the internet.
Okay. City Hall.
What do I have to update you guys? I discussed with Seth the requests of the council and myself from the last meeting about the entities of City Hall that we want to focus on, and asked for a more specific dollar amount as close as we can based on a feasibility study. And Jamie provided total, that you guys in your pocket. They are still recommending, some of the civil and mechanical lines, and then one of the electrical lines. And to do the windows, because they're doing exterior. And the stucco. So I'm at a total with contingency, general contractor construction, and design of $459. So the project subtotal was 280, just shy of 285 plus contingency for 341.5, and then the rest of it is architecture, design, civil. And if the council's in agreement with that, I'll start using this with Beltrami Electric's USDA proposal as my budget guide.
Those items. First two are required. Right?
The civil line and the mechanical line,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
they required,
Line items 4 and 5 required.
Yeah.
And line item-
electrical line 4B is recommended.
And Max, you'll note that, 5 is the sanitary, the service line that isn't directly connected to Main Street. And you addressed that at the last meeting, so Jamie put that back in. That got us a little closer to the number. I just need to know if the council's in agreement with this, and I'll use that to start working, closer with Beltran Electric.
Thoughts?
Said it was 4 song, Christina?
Correct, 459.
This keeps going down.
Yeah, it's hard in that format, and I've had a very hard time with that
The
too.
colored lines.
I'm putting it in PDF, see if I can.
I could pass my hard copy down if that was better for you done.
Okay, I got it here.
Okay, good.
Tim, if I can ask, what is the specific benefit of relocating the electrical service? On that,
Well, with that and the sanitary, the thought is if you're finishing that north facade,
yeah,
you might as well do the things that might have a future impact. You know, sanitary service would be one of those things. You don't want that going to the neighbors, and the electrical, I think, has to deal with the same thing. And the electrical is lower cost. It just makes sense to do it at that time.
Okay, what did you say it was 5?
That electrical.
Yeah, okay.
But what, you know, like huge.
That's mainly involves relocating.
Yeah. it's
Yeah.
More of a convenience thing.
Nothing, remind me, nothing like rewiring this floor.
No.
Yeah, for 5,000. I think we still have screw fuses down. Screw.
Yeah, we do.
Would that include updating the circuit breaker panels or not? 5,000.
I doubt it. I think that's
Okay.
just relocating the drop.
Yeah.
Because right now it's on that wall.
Yeah.
It drops down
Yep.
between buildings.
I think at the last meeting, I was actually asked for new construction.
Yeah, we didn't get square footage costs.
Yeah.
The 2 meetings ago, but
Yeah,
I
that
think
we-
you can get a rough number of like 375,
350 or more.
Yeah.
But and again, that's just construction,
right?
so it's expensive. I'm sure with that.
well, Christina, I think, I mean, we can't do extra way of that. I mean, those are the minimal.
Those are the largest of the whole project, to be honest with you.
You know, that's I'm not trying to say that they're minimal things. I'm saying that
Right.
if this is where we're at.
Right.
The water stuff.
Yeah, I think we need to move forward. You know, we do a lot of talking on these things. We
Yeah.
meet month after month after month, and while we're meeting, it's raining, water's coming in the basement. Flush the toilet, it's coming, sometimes coming back to us, maybe. Yeah, we need to get the water inclusion things. Spending.
And going back with the sanitary stuff and getting it back out the street, that's a major.
What you want to go is send that in the USB.
Well, I need the solid numbers to start working more with Beltrami Electric because they need, in their narrative, my budget, and that's where this came in. So that when they go for their ask to USDA, they know what the ultimate recipient of the money needs. And if I could double back to like June, you guys also needed to know what 20% of that X dollar amount was, because we didn't have that either. Now we have it a little closer. And I have heard in the last month too, that 20% may not even be a tangible. We may not even need to. It depends on how USDA looks at this project. It might be more grant than it is loan. But until I can get the process rolling with Beltran Electric and know what our budget is, we can't get that far to get that unknown answered. So,
Our figures, but no.
so as long as you guys know the number, that's what I wanted to make sure I provide.
Yeah, no matter, I don't care what we do, it's gonna be a scary big number. But, you know, there's not much about that that's going to be.
No, but I mean, if you go back to the feasibility study and look at the whole thing,
Correct.
the grand number was like 700 grand, and this is
Almost
70% of that. We knew was
Well,
this building.
we,
the outside.
yeah, and I think this is a good fit for government building.
Right.
Yeah, the only thing I'd caution is when we start looking at grants, I'd probably jack up the price a bit. It seems like these things take a long time to get through, and by the time we get down, a year down the road, we're already 20% higher, so something we consider.
Pushing.
Okay, so we're done with that one then?
I believe so, yes.
We move on to, warranty punch list. Because we all love punch lists.
I know, it seems like the punch list takes longer than the rest of the project. I mean, it usually does. It just never ends. We met with Mike, we talked about that. The only thing that's outstanding is the FRP board, and so we had, I think Clay had just gotten back, like, right today, so we talked over with Mike. But Clay had indicated, and I don't know that we're quite in agreement with that, so I think there'll be some follow-up.
To clarify, that's in the wash bay.
That's in the watch.
Correct.
Yeah, I looked at that.
The panelists had worked.
Yep.
Sure have.
So the contractor is not in agreement.
We don't necessarily know if we agree with the recommendation and for inputs,
Oh, okay.
so.
That's something you want to share.
Me?
Oh.
Oh.
So. He's like, no.
Yeah, well, the initial thought is that they could drill a couple holes in those panels and put some adhesive behind it and roll it out. Well, when you go look at that, there's quite a bulge in there.
Mhm.
There's no.
We were there
Yeah.
on Friday or Thursday.
Substantial sag.
Yeah, there's no way in the heck you're gonna get that rolled out. The only way that would work is you'd have to put the adhesive behind it. You'd have to put something on the face of the panel, and you'd have to put something in between it to adhere to the wall. Otherwise, it just won't work. So we'll have to go back to Brent and see what they've got for another.
Plus, is the cause of it sagging that the wall behind it has moisture in it?
No, I don't know that we know exactly. Brent was thinking initially it might have been fairly cool when they adhered that panel to the wall.
He said it's not.
And so then when the structure warmed up, there was some expansion.
Sure.
And so that created, some tension on the joints.
Yeah.
So,
It seemed like it was tight. And, I was gonna push it on it down there.
mhm.
But if they were stored like outside and they were installed when it was cold, that would make sense.
That we do is not at that point.
Pot bellies.
And after looking at it, Brent doesn't know or think that there's moisture getting behind it because it appears that the bulges are the same as they were a few months ago, almost a year ago. Yeah. So hopefully it's just a little while. So yeah, we need to go back then and if we're not in agreement, that's probably the right.
Okay.
So.
Appreciate it. man. Mike,
Yes,
main lift station repairs.
nothing to report for you there. They're still working on a plan on what to do and how to do it, so. As soon as I know anything, I'll let you guys know.
Carver's donation.
They're requesting their money back, so I requested the outgoing committee to draft a letter and request, so I just wanted to make sure that the council wasn't aware of this before it processed anything.
Yes.
And I'll put it in the consent agenda on September 9th to authorize the check.
Sounds good. Art, I've been waiting for. Tax question.
Yeah, so I know that I've kind of filled the board in that Taft, our bond council, got a hold of the questions and made some slight changes, which I provided to you guys by email. Jody Treat needed our ballot versions with some titles and headings to start working on ordering our ballots last week. So what I've just given you guys tonight is those final changes from bond and then the ballot versions and what they'll look like. So there's some slight language changes. They got a little bit shorter done, but not by much.
Is this will be their order?
Yeah, because that's the way they show up in the resolution that the legislature passed. So I just went off with that. And on a side note, Pinnacle has got a draft to me of the flyer that's gonna get mailed out to the registered voters. When I have a better streamlined draft and I know what it's gonna look like, I'll share it more. It's in its infant stage, so, because I just got this out to Jody Treat on Thursday.
Maybe. Do it too early.
I don't wanna do it too early. I'm looking at like maybe October, 1st of October to get it in the mail. Because, the original concept was it was only gonna be like a placard card similar to the way the golf course put in a mailer. But because the length and the details of and the number of questions, Pinnacle can't really get it mailed out that size and
It's a-
put all the questions on. So I had asked them to look at getting like, either a fold out or a flyer version that could be used on both sides as well. Because once it's tri-folded, you need the mailing section of it to go to the registered voter. But then you also need to make sure that all of the information is in there. They had recommended like a QR code for people to scan and look up the information. I told them no. I said, when people get this, they're gonna wanna look at this and that's it. They're not gonna take another step forward past that. I know this from my own experience with
You are.
mail, just mail in general,
I
right?
say that.
You look at it and you deal with it and you shuffle it off. So I wanted it to
Just
be,
sit on the kitchen table.
I want it to be the last stop that people see.
When I'm eating lunch one day, I'll be that bored. Will read some of that stuff that I get in the mail.
Yeah. So,
You know, when the sales are happening at, you know, Ken K. Thompson is. Right.
anything else on that, Max?
No,
Or-
I appreciate all your work on this, I really do.
I'm anticipating a good turnout and I'm
I-
already looking for drafts of
questions,
ordinances I have to create. So trying to get ahead of the game.
I'm hoping everyone has you know, they bring a bookmark, they come to vote. So they don't lose a place.
I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. I know it'll be a long piece of paper, but it will still fit in the ballot
That's all we need.
tabulator. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. All right. Any other questions on it? We've talked about it and this is finally gonna come to the people, let them have their vote. All right. I think we're on to new business. And first up would be our Blackduck Development Board.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Peterson, and I'm with the Blackduck Development Corporation. I was recently hired as their economic and community coordinator. And what I do can best be summed up, and what the BDC does can best be summed up with our mission statement, which is that we connect people, resources, drive ideas and investments that develop vibrant businesses and a strong community. Basically, what I've been doing, I've been here 2 weeks. And I've been out and talking to local businesses. Hopefully, if you're a business owner and I haven't been to you yet, I apologize. I'll get there. And I've just been talking to the community, mostly business owners, employees, managers, whoever was available to visit with. I've talked to a few community members as well. Just learning more about Blackduck. I'm from Bemidji. I've lived in Bemidji for 30 years, so it's not totally unfamiliar territory to me. But like I said, I've been out talking to people here and asking them what they like about what they love about Blackduck. And what do they want to see different? Any improvements that they see, any businesses that they want to come into town? And a lot of people have, what, you want to bring me in and do business and put me out? No, that's not what we're doing. That's not our plan. What does Blackduck need that they don't already have? Those kind of things. And it's been very interesting. It's been very, very similar in what they love about Blackduck. And it's been very, very similar about, what do we need here to help keep people here instead of moving away. And, what other things, can just the community benefit from. And a lot of very, very common answers, throughout the people I've talked to. And I've been out to resorts around the lake. I put on a lot of miles in the last 2 weeks, out visiting with people, and it's been very, very pleasant. I've enjoyed all the people that I've talked to, and it's been great. I look forward to working with all of you and working with the city and the BDC, working together to see what we can do to make things better, improve the economy, keep people here.
What are a couple things you've heard? Just about a couple.
As far as like what they want?
Yeah.
Coffee shop, you've been a huge one. And
I'm with them. I'll take one.
Yeah, right.
Give me
so then the other question that I would ask when they say coffee shop, they said, so like a drive-through Starbucks kind of thing? Or do you want to go in and, sit down and have it be a home family-owned Blackduck resident, whoever, that kind. I got 50-50 on that, depending on the age group.
Yeah, I'm sure the folks at the senior center don't much care for,
Right,
Americano,
right,
calf, super hot coffee, right?
a
right.
whole shot.
Right.
Yeah. Can't even say venti.
Yeah, right?
Is that a flavor or what is it? Yeah, but I talked to people in their 30s and 40s where that would be their thing. And, and they talked about, well, if you put it out at 71 or 72, you get the traffic that comes through all the time. Maybe a drive-through would be a better one. Then I got to thinking about that as well. Well, a lot of that traffic has boats and fish houses on it, where, drive-through probably wouldn't be super conducive, to something like
You'd have to have a high canopy.
that. High canopy and a wide turn radius in there. I think about the one in Bemidji on the corner where familiar with Dick's Cross side of that. And that thing's tight.
Yeah. You can have both, you could do a duel.
Yeah, and so that was one, a bakery, ice cream shop have been popular, something like that. A restaurant that's open, consistently,
Consistent,
that was
consistency,
that was a really popular one. The folks on Main Street have talked about, other boutique type shops. You know, actually, a lot of the businesses owners here with the boutiques and the secondhand stores and stuff said, you know, look at Walker. Now, obviously Walker and the Blackduck are not the
County seat.
same,
Yep.
but you look at Walker, that main street is very, very inviting. And a lot of what folks have said that work along here, have said, let's do something with the current people that are here. Let's improve, let's, you know, do a facelift of some sort, or even paint. You know, something, you know, just to make it more aesthetically pleasing. Those were off the top of my head, some of the most popular. that I heard.
You need to find the draw
You
to
should
get
turn 'em.
people off that highway.
Right. See, in Walker, there's no highway. It's easy
Right.
To drive through.
Yes. Somebody mentioned whoever had the great idea of making the highway go, was that you? Whoever had the great idea of running the highway past the city instead of through it.
Was that your idea?
Not my idea.
He mentioned
I
it.
was thinking, I was thinking,
You weren't even born.
could you even imagine how busy we could be?
When this highway bypassed, you were about this tall.
Yeah, that's when it
I
started.
was here and I personally watched the death of Main Street. Where I was recently, about I visited frequently, my parents.
And that brought up another suggestion too, was just signage out on
Big,
71.
big.
You know, here's what we have,
Main
Yeah.
Street,
come in and see us.
How about a big sign that says historic downtown Blackduck this way? Turn here.
Blackduck next 3 exits.
So those are, I mean, that's all
I
I've
love that
done,
idea.
all I've worked with, or worked on the last couple weeks that I've been here. And, just looking out to, you know, meet more people and just get more ideas and, you know, move forward from there with the direction of the BDC.
Good. Well, it's nice to meet you. I'm glad you're on the job.
You too, thank you.
And, thank you for your patience.
Oh,
Through
absolutely.
the first hour of the meeting.
Well, and that's been, so going back a bit, a lot of folks had no idea what the BDC was,
Right.
or that it even existed.
They, for a lot of them, they would assume that it was the city.
Because you put the
Because
word Black Duck.
Black,
before that.
Duck. It's just like the ambulance, everyone thinks that. City Hall.
Well, it used to be, maybe that's the confusion.
Some of it,
But those that thought I was part of the city, I made sure,
you don't want that.
we don't,
Yeah.
I don't work for them, I work with them. You know, that's kind of what I said, but well, then, you know, when people said they hadn't heard about it or didn't know what it was, I had to do some research and find out when the BBC started, approximately 1960.
Jim Walden was one of the original, and Bud Olson, I think.
Yeah. might be a
Both
little
were
after.
original,
Okay.
and yeah. Probably
It
about
was
that
definitely
time.
in the late sixties. It was there, early seventies.
So it's been around for a while. And, you know, from what I gathered from the BDC board is that, you know, they want to move forward, but they need a guy, a face to go with BDC.
Yep. That's good. I think we have a lot of space available. I think we'd like to see more businesses.
Yep.
Providing services, traffic. Serving our citizens on Main Street, we have a lot of buildings that are
Right.
available.
Right.
Currently, and future, I don't know if they will be available, because they're deteriorating, so.
And I've been working, well, not working with, I shouldn't say that, but I will be working with the Greater Bemidji as well. Getting help, guidance, whatever from them. So they've been very receptive to me calling up and saying, here I am. You know, are you willing to help? Can you help? Oh, yeah, for sure. Come on down. But yeah, so I'm getting involved with the different things that I can. Do anything I can to help Blackduck out. The passion of mine to help people. I was a teacher for 26 years, helping kids for 26 years. Well, kids have changed. So I don't do that anymore. But I've always had a passion for helping people, and I thought this position was proposed to me, I thought if I can help an entire community, that's fantastic. Well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next,
The annual budget meeting for the Blackduck area fire protection, group is this Thursday night at 6 o'clock. So, since the, council doesn't meet until the 9th, and I got this mailed out after, I wanted to make sure you guys all saw the packet.
Yep.
So we'll report on how that meeting went, at the next council meeting. If you had any questions on the packet that I provided, please let me know. It's on next.
you can keep going.
All right, fantastic.
Folks.
Yeah, so Post did their compliance review of our police department's HR files and training files recently, and I'm happy to announce that passed with flying colors. This is done every couple of years, and we had an on-site audit. They reviewed all of our HR files and the training records for all of our officers, current officers, and everything was where they required. So kudos to Josh, and
Excellent.
I'm glad my HR files are where they're supposed to be.
Up to date.
Great job.
I need to move to D. I sent this ahead of time so that Lori could see it. So Kichigami's years work differently a little bit than ours, or calendar years, when we appoint board and committee members. So as this email says, you know, they're working through their next appointee. Lori has been our appointee. Her first term ends in November of this year. Because we appointed her 2 years ago, a year ago. It looks different from our annual resolution versus what they know. So they need to know if Lori wants to continue serving. At that point, I'll notify Melissa Wheatley if that is gonna continue that way. And of course, on our January meeting, that'll be noted on your appointees and your commitment, your committee members. So I just wanted to have that conversation tonight, so I could give
Sure.
Melissa a heads up.
Do you want to do it, Lori?
Sure. Okay, easy enough. Yeah, I mean, they can serve 3 consecutive terms, so she's only on her first term. It's been 2 years, but still in your first term, I think.
That's what it says.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Just knock him out here.
Yeah,
This one could be fun, huh?
this one hurt.
Yeah,
I
saw that.
I got a Dear John letter today.
Uh-huh.
Miller McDonald has been our auditor since 1984.
Yep.
I called John Roscoe this morning when I got the letter in the mail, and I'm like, dude, I feel like you just broke up with me. It's a long-standing relationship. What did I do wrong, right? I mean, I've been here for 10 years. I've done 11 audits. I'm like, is there something we're doing wrong? Is there something we could be doing different? And honestly, it's a little bit of mixture of both. Yeah, I don't know, because in the last 4 audits, their on-site visits went, when I started in 2014, from a 5-day grueling on-site visit to 3. So we've been able to do many things. We've been able to streamline our reporting, our communications, so their amount of on-site time is minimized. But I think it's kind of a mixture of the fact that they've turned over some staff. They don't have as much staff that's doing government reporting. And it's really hard to find accountants that are going into that path. They have turned over some people, which makes it difficult for them. And it makes it difficult for the cities that they serve too, because you're constantly rework that relationship. We have it with our attorneys, with, our engineers. It's something you have to start over with when there's a new person. So I went from being really frustrated this morning to an open mind that this is a door of opportunity that I think we'll have. So what I'm letting you guys know is I'm going to start an RFP process as soon as possible for auditors, for a new auditing company. I drafted, a request for services proposal. I put it in the packet tonight. I'll probably go through a few more tweaks, but this is pretty much the meat and potatoes of what I'll be asking for. I've gotten referrals on the services draft from Baudette, Park Rapids, and Lake Park, all of which have, pretty big range of populations. But like Lake Park, it's very similar to us. They have an on-off sale liquor store, so their proprietary funds are very similar to ours. Park Rapids, also very similar, but a little bit bigger in population. They're 4,000 people, we're less than 1,000. So taking a mix of all three of those cities and trying to commingle an RFP that will look the best for us. I just want,
Realistically, how many do you suppose?
I don't know,
Wait, that-
my communication with the finance manager from Park Rapids was, they had to go through this process in 2022. And they were taken completely off guard. Their auditor, gave them their Dear John letter in November of the calendar year. And they needed to find somebody to do their audit by January 16th of 23. So they're.
You just got a little bit.
I'm thankful that our window is big. I mean, typically, Q4 is when I would get the services contract from Miller McDonald for the council to approve for this calendar year. So I at least have a couple of months that I can start this process and narrow down a search. But Park Rapids did find somebody, and all the stuff in 1 year is that there's not a lot of entities doing this. Well, it might just not be a lot of entities that are local that are doing it. There's so much of this process that isn't on site anymore, except for maybe the presentation to council. That and Teams and Zoom have become so common in cities nowadays that depending on how the relationship works with your staff and your city council, you can do a lot of this without somebody in Bemidji or, an hour away.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful that I find somebody, first of all, in Minnesota, second of all, in northern Minnesota.
This is it's a requirement.
It is a requirement of the state auditor. It doesn't matter what size city you have, if you are over a certain dollar amount of.
You'd think somebody would be running a monopoly.
Yeah.
It's such a requirement.
It is a very tailored, auditing or accounting, path to take for people if they're going into it. In addition to that, we work on a accrual-based cash reporting system. That's how our accounting system that we work in City Hall is. And there are some larger cities with finance managers that do all the GASB reporting. They take all their cash and they convert it into the GASB reporting, which is what the state auditor in Minnesota requires for the reporting. Miller McDonald takes all of our stuff and translates it that way for us. That's part of the service they provide to us. It takes a very specialized financial background to be able to know the GASB accounting system. And I'm not confident enough that I would be able to do that, not with over 4 million of expenses for the city annually. I'd much rather put it in the trust of somebody that specializes in it. Questions?
No.
I agree. I think we need to get it out to RFP.
Yep.
It's the most critical phrase in their termination letter is effective immediately. So
Yeah,
as,
because,
as we sit here tonight, we don't have an option.
well, And
They didn't even give you, it's not you, it's us.
no. It's very interesting that you say that, Ron, because, they may do our audit, but what the public and the council doesn't see is, like the relationship with the city attorney and WITSEP is, there's other things in the background that I'm on the phone with, hey, what about this? What about that? Like our conversation about levying funds for the statue. I don't think it's statutorily acceptable. And this would have been a question I would have bounced off my auditor, just to be on the safe side, so I'm not making a poor recommendation to the city.
Mhm.
And so they work for us, not just for the audit, but all year round.
Well, I know it's difficult in other I know at least one other nearby city has a different firm and they're not satisfied with it. Speaking to city administrator there.
Oh, you have to let me know who that is in case the RFP comes through.
I heard the complaints about.
Oh dear. You know, the relationships are so important.
Yep.
You gotta be able to work with them. Like, there was a gal that worked for Miller McDonald back in like 16. And she did her audit for 2 years, 3 years. And we really could read each other really well. And I was fairly new when I came to the city, so what a CPA's language is not my language. And I needed to understand what that person was talking about so that I could get a definition in my head of what they were relating to. And when she left, it was constant intern over flip with them, but I appreciate the history that Miller McDonald has provided to us, but that safe has got every financial audit back to 1984 with their name on it. That's a lot of investment into one small little town. But yeah, so anyway. A sad story.
Way to close on a high note, Christina.
Hey, I'm a half full kind of gal. I got dumped today.
But you got prospects.
But I got prospects. We're gonna go through the dating process here for you quick.
All right, anything else this evening? I would like to thank everyone for taking part in the parade and helping with the float. I would, and make sure Paige gets a thank you for doing it. Mike, I know it was, had a hell of a week. And I really appreciate you coming in for it. I saw you there at Backwoods Bash. I want to thank Melissa and Shonda, the pond, everyone. I was there for the entire, up till about midnight. And everyone seemed very well behaved. The fireworks went off. The Backwoods
They're very
Bash,
nice fireworks.
the Backwoods Bash did well. Like I said, everybody seemed to have a really good time. The boosters. It was a good.
I heard the Drake Scramble filled out last minute, but it finally
That,
it filled out.
that is in typical fashion.
It is a
Last-
typical fashion.
Last minute.
Hard to plan, but
Yep.
yeah. It works both
good.
together.
Does anybody?
I think everything went good this weekend. Great fireworks.
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Never attached to that one.
Yeah.
No. Thank you.
That's right. I know.